Assalamu alaikum. In today's session, we will be talking about interview, hiring process, and feedback system on Upwork. Imagine this. You have filled in your profile, you have found a good job and applied to it with a stellar, wonderful proposal, and client is coming back to you. At this stage, you have been invited to an interview, but this doesn't mean that you will get the job, because in most of the cases there will be multiple other freelancers also being interviewed for the same job. So at this stage, we want to maximize your chances of getting hired. The most common form of interviews are there are two types within via text messages or video calls on Upwork. For text messages, freelancers usually apply when you apply for less paying jobs or your smaller projects. The client may be okay with text messages, just chatting and asking questions about your experience, introducing you and explaining you the task and so on. But for more serious projects where you will be working for a long term, mostly and usually in such cases, clients will ask you for a video call, to organize a video call. But I would suggest you, if you are good at English, if your speaking is okay, then just go for the video call no matter what the situation you are in, because having video call far more increases your chances of getting hired. You can showcase your skills, you can make the client trust you, and it will build a stronger bond compared to text messages in most of the time. Even if you feel worried about video calls, I would suggest to go for a video call, and you will improve within this 3 to 5 interviews. You will be very, very good at it. And here are the strategies you can use to excel at video call interviews. You can use the strategies for Upwork or any other job application interview that you are doing. So the interview stage for developers, software engineers, it can be a tech interview sometimes, but most of the time it is just a call with the client. The client also wants to get to know you better. The aim of this call is actually to make sure that you can do the job, plus arrange the time, arrange the costs and price, and so on. So first thing I would suggest is, once you apply to a job, always be available. That's what I mean by that. You should download the mobile app of Upwork on App Store or Google Play, and turn on the notifications so that you don't miss your interview invitation. And when you are the first one, client will be sending, most of the time will be sending interview invitations at the same time to different freelancers. And if you are the first one to get back to the client and to reply and to arrange the call, it's you will have much higher chance of getting hired. For most of my jobs on Upwork, I have usually been the first one, and I have been hired on spot before the client had a chance to interview the others. So you want to be the first one, be available, and be early, be the first one. And the next thing, during the interview, ask questions. This is the easiest way to control the interview. You ask questions, but at the same time, the questions you ask should make sense. The most common ones you can ask are about the task, plus about the business. So it will give you a general idea of what you are gonna do and for what purposes. If you know the business context, you can come up with more suggestions, more information, and maybe more questions. So ask questions and ask questions in a way that it will help you showcase your skills. For example, you can ask, what technologies are we using for front end web? And if they say like most, or if it, you should ask this question only if it's not clearly written in the job description. And if they say like React, you would go, oh, that's great, I'm very experienced in React, and so on. And you can ask, what framework are you using for CSS, or so on. Or even you can ask something like, I think you can ask in a way that you would suggest. You can say, what technologies are we going to use for the front end? I have heard like have you heard the new technology which is blah blah blah, and this has its performance so on, and are you going to use it? Client may say yes, or he may be interested, and you can show here that you know that technology, you are learning all the time, and so on. Just make sure that you showcase your skills and showcase your previous job projects. If client tells you about the technologies they will be using or the application, and if you have worked on similar apps, just share your experience. Maybe it's a startup and you have something you have in the previously have been worked on startup projects. You can share that experience, and it makes makes the client trust you. It builds confidence and trust between you, actually. And control the interview by asking more questions related to the job, to the business. It makes sure that you understand the task, and this interview is a chance for you to identify whether this job is a good fit for you. And yeah, you should that's why you should be asking questions and show interest, genuine interest. If you are not interested in that project, in that business, it's better for you to not continue with the hiring process. Just cancel the job offer and move on to something else. There are lots of jobs on Upwork where you can find that's what's interesting to you. But at the first stage, as I explained in the previous videos, you should apply to jobs that are really interesting to you. And okay, and the next step, once you have done the interview, you may reach price negotiation. Sometimes the project may be bigger in scope than the client has described in the job description. In such case, you have three options. Firstly, you can explain and give the price and tell the reasons at the end of the interview, and give the client some time to think and answer you. But the second option is what I like. After the interview, I tell the client that I will need 1 hour or some time and to estimate the task and give the price estimation, timeline, and so on. And I will make something like break the task into small parts. For example, if it's a landing page, it has sections. It can be header, body, footer, and so on. I just estimate everything. I estimate the pages, estimate like API, everything, every single functionality. And at the end, I may give something like this. Whereas it says like it will take me 30 to 40 hours to finish the whole project, and I will be able to do it in 2 weeks. And I will also share the whole detailed estimation list that I have done. So this shows that you have done your homework. Actually, you are not coming with random numbers. This is the approach I take the most. And the third one is sometimes you can come up with different pricing options. You can decrease the scope of the project and tell like I can complete this part for this price, whole project for this price. Or maybe some tools, like if I use this tool, it will be this price. If I use this tool, it will be this price, and so on. And so the client can choose. Both of the times, make sure that you explain everything well. And yeah, and the client, like if the client asks questions, give detailed answers. Just earn client's trust and be honest. Next one. Okay, price negotiation went well and interview was wonderful. You got hired on the spot. Client will send you a contract and you will receive a text message and also notification. The text message will look like this. This one is a message, custom message from the client, and this one is the job contract. And here, if let me make it bigger. Okay, here you can see this view details button. If you click on the view details, it will open something like this, a page with all the details of the contract. One first step, make sure that you go through everything in the contract before you start working, before you accept the contract. If the timeline is not matching, if the hourly rate or the fixed price rate doesn't match, you should tell. And if maybe weekly limit will not match, sometimes clients set like weekly limit of 10 hours and maybe you plan to work for 20 hours in your planning. Just reach back to the client and tell them, hey, this part needs to be changing, and so on. And he will, like the client will send you a new updated version of the contract. And after that, you can accept the contract and start working. While accepting, there is a text message you should enter. I usually like to say something like, thanks for the offer. I believe this is going to be an amazing experience for both parties, for both of us, and so on. You can say something positive, because it's a very, it's like a happy moment, right? You have been officially hired at this stage. And we move on to the working process while you are working on the project. The first thing, be available. Be available, please. At least be available within your working hours. You can specify this to the client in advance, in the hiring process, in the interview stage. You can specify them and be available. Install Upwork mobile app, turn the notifications on, and so on. Also, you must focus on this part. Always give daily, weekly updates to the client based on the job you are doing. Maybe you need to give daily updates or weekly or bi-weekly. The point is always be in contact. And then show initiative, suggest improvements, assuming that this job is what you are interested in, the business is what you are interested in. It will be very easy for you to come up with new ideas, new ways, updated versions of the tasks you've got. Like you can go over like you can go one step over the limit. Okay, and most of the time clients will end up giving tips for freelancers, for initiatives, for very good quality work. So even if you are getting paid, I have seen cases like when the job is just $20 and the tip is $30 or $50. It doesn't make sense, but it happens. So if you give like good quality work, you will end up getting rewarded. But don't accept it like as a norm. Sometimes some clients do not give tips, but it's okay. And then ask questions. Always ask questions about the project, about your progress, and everything. Get feedback, get frequent feedback as long as you finish a part of the task. For example, if you had a big website, you are developing it, as long as you finish the landing page, show it to the client. As long as you finish one of the pages, show it to the client. As long as you add a functionality, which is a big functionality actually, show it to the client. And if you have any questions at any point, ask questions and clarify before you move on. So at the end, you will not lose time working on something you thought you should do but was not the requirement. Yes, so by asking questions, make requirements clear. Okay, and if you are working on an hourly contract, you must install Upwork Timer, which looks like this, and you will choose your current project and start tracking by clicking on this toggle button. This works, this application will take a screenshot of your screen with like in every 10 minutes, and this is random. At any random time between 10 minutes, it takes the screenshot and captures it, saves it. And it also tracks the mouse and keyboard movements, keyboard events happening on your laptop. So it will be, the purpose of it is to send the client your up-to-date, your activity, and so on. The good part is if you work on an hourly contract, you will get paid for every minute you work, unless you are not, you're being, as long as you are being honest. Some developers were caught with some automated scripts that were, I don't know how it works, but they were turning on this time tracker but not working actually. And they got caught actually. Yeah, and one more thing, there is a memo. It will right here, every time you start a task, you start tracking, please write a memo. It increases your chances of getting paid for every minute. Even if sometimes clients, you may see bad clients and they may reject your submissions. Even if at such times, if you have memo in place, everything in place, you may get paid for the time you work. Okay, and use the time tracker every minute you work. Do not work without enabling it if you are working on an hourly contract. Okay, if you are using other job types like milestones, fixed, and so on, you always make sure that you try to divide the job tasks into milestones and get milestones approved frequently. And the good thing about milestones is like you can get paid for milestones that are completed. Even if you have not done the whole part of the task, you can get money for the beginning or the first milestone, second, and so on. And the second thing you should keep in mind is like never give out the source code via Upwork or outside Upwork. Only submit it when you submit your milestone or your job. There is a special file for that in your, you can see it in my all contracts, and you choose your current contract, and there will be a button to submit your data, not data, your work for feedback, for review, and only use that submission. And also, if they ask for a preview, you can give them live preview of the website, some deployed version, but never the source code. But if you give out the source code, and if you were scammed, there is no way you can get your money for the time you worked. And the next thing is payment protection. And I've been talking about Upwork payment protection for a while, and there are like 3 exceptions for payment protection. Payment protection, what is it? It is Upwork making sure that you get paid for the work you do. It will not happen in these 3 cases. First one, milestone payments in excess of amount in escrow. Escrow is what Upwork uses. For example, before when you start your job, client puts some money on the escrow, for example $100, and if your payment is 200, you have payment protection for 100 of it. So in that case, you should ask the client to put the whole money, all the money on the escrow. Or you should do the first part, which is worth $100, get paid for it, and then start the second part. And then the next exception is clients without a verified billing method. We have checked it, we have seen it before, like it appears when you are applying to the job, it says not verified for the payment method. So if their payment method is not verified, it's better not to and you can check this tutorial and go through this, not to apply to such jobs at the first place. And the third one is additional amounts are discussed or promised between you and client but not made official in the contract. This is why if you are changing the price when you are doing price negotiation, make sure it's reflected on the contract. If it is not, Upwork is not going to help you if you don't get paid. And the payment process usually takes 1 to 2 weeks. Once you submit the job, you will get your money on Upwork platform within 1 to 2 weeks. For top-rated developers, it is within 1 week mostly. And that's how it happens. For the payment part, we will discuss it more in the upcoming sections, how to link the payment, how to get your money out of Upwork, and so on. And for today's session, this was it. So we covered interview, price negotiation, time estimation, and how to start a contract, what to do when you are working, as well as what is a payment protection. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope it was useful. Keep watching. We will have the next stream next week on Monday. And please share and subscribe. Do not lose hope if you are finding getting jobs difficult right now. It's only one job that you are going to get hired, and you will forget all the hardships, I believe. Yeah. And this is what motivates me mostly when I'm struggling to find a job. I think about it. I say, there is only one job I want to get, and once I get one job, I'll be working on it for next 3 to 4 months or more. It will all be over. And if you followed all the tutorials, you should be able to get jobs by now. And the students in the course are already getting jobs. And if you haven't yet, don't lose hope. Keep going. Have a nice day and follow and subscribe.